Hello, my name is Stacey Mankoff, and I'd like to welcome you all to our 24th edition of the Bellringer. And I'm very excited to have this in the heat of the summer, towards the end of the summer, topic on how to make money from the metaverse, a discussion on transformative Web 3.0. And I'm delighted to have Oded Orgil as our speaker today. Oded has over 25 years of experience in capital markets as a financial advisor and senior executive in companies including Merrill Lynch, Canaccord Genuity, Manulife, Gravitas Securities, and Bay Street. In 2017, he founded 5X Capital Management, and he is also CEO of Ocean Falls Blockchain Corporation. Oded is the president of the Canada-Israel Chamber of Commerce, and he also was a member of the Israel national hockey team. He is an innovative leader in the financial services and wealth management industry, and he is passionate about the future of blockchain, technology, and international relations, and also about the metaverse. Welcome, Oded.
Welcome, Stacey. Thank you for having me. The only small correction I'll make is I'm no longer a member of the national hockey team. That was
a former
25 years ago.
I understand, and as I said, I was surprised, and I remember asking you ice hockey, and you said yes. So anyway, yes, but anyway, welcome to our Bellringer. Now, first thing, when you're talking about making money from the metaverse, what do you need to know to get started?
Well, I think first, let's take a step back and understand what is the metaverse.
Sure.
And I think that that's really important. And again, someone from my perspective, I've become very passionate about it as I learn about it. But really, the metaverse is an immersive virtual reality. So when we look at it, the way I see things, Stacey, is this is just a further extension of the internet. And I often talk about our communications ability, where 25 years ago, we might have done this over a phone call. Then subsequently, there may be a conference call. We then now recently have been able to do Zoom, that over time, we may do this conversation in an immersive virtual reality in the metaverse. So it's really the opportunity for people to get together, to virtually connect. And again, for ourselves, we may do this in the metaverse once a month. We may rely on older technology, where I often joke that my 14-year-old son, since he's got his goggles, spends 3 hours a day, in that virtual world, because he's accepting of that new technology and that new evolution. So if we understand what it is, as I said, it's a virtual reality, an immersive virtual reality. How can you make money in it? I see it again as an extension of the internet, and there's so many ways. I don't think we've even started to understand all the different areas where money can be made, in the metaverse. I mean, and I think what we will see over time.
Oded, could you just repeat what you just said?
Sure. Yeah, I apologize. I was just saying that I think over time, what you will see is that integration between Web 2.0, our ability to shop online, be it on Amazon or anywhere else, and then doing it immersively in a virtual reality setting. So there'll be opportunities to shop on all the different things. We can talk about a number of different areas that have already been used in the metaverse and where I think it's going over time. If that makes sense.
Okay. Well, that's one of the, we had talked before, and we were talking about how large is this market space, and it sounds like it could be very large.
So it's funny you say that. I mean, we are in only the initial stages of the metaverse. And again, we can talk about really what's gone on, in the last little bit, but the marketplace itself is relatively small right now. But if you look at the projections for it, I saw one from Bloomberg that they believe that in the next 3 years, it's an $800 billion marketplace. I've seen Citigroup do an analysis where they believe that by 2030, it's a $13 trillion marketplace. And again, when we just think about, as I said, all the extensions, currently, I mean, there are a number of metaverses. We have to understand that anyone could really set that up. And what that metaverse is that ability for you to go in there and experience that world, that metaverse. So currently there's a lot of land sales. I mean, and when you think about that is really property in the metaverse, again, it touches on another topic, an NFT, a non-fungible token, because within that space that you have created, Stacey's metaverse, there could be limited opportunities for me to set up a storefront, to own a house next to Snoop Dogg or something else. So there's a lot of interesting things. And I often joke, with my team that in much the same way as when we dialed up the internet, you and I, 25, 30 years ago, and heard that whirring sound, we didn't think that would eventually turn into an Uber Eats app on a phone. I don't think we really know where it's going to go. So when you talk about the opportunities and potentials, and we can talk more specifically about it, the marketplace is going to be huge, I believe, in the coming 5 to 10 years.
Now, with that, how do you avoid pitfalls if you're trying to make money into the metaverse? And we talk about FOMO and all that. How does that impact getting into this area?
Well, again, let's use, and I agree with you, there's a tremendous amount, for lack of a better term, of FOMO. But I think that often comes with any new technology, any new evolution. I was fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to experience the NASDAQ bubble back in 2000, where if you look at things back there, then companies, everybody desperately wanted to get a website. Everything was .com. There weren't real businesses necessarily attached to it that could create value and generate real revenues over time. We saw a similar sort of thing happen with the ICO craze, the initial coin offering craze in 2017, where people just added, well, we're just going to create a token. Well, there needs to be some value for it and underlying. And now, to a certain extent, we've seen some of that in the metaverse, whether it was in the purchase of land in the metaverse, and people were speculating that certain metaverses would be of greater value long term. And again, you saw that perhaps in the non-fungible token world, the NFT world. I think what happens, Stacey, is, again, we are human beings. We get emotional about things. There is that fear of missing out. And I think what everybody should do, and again, it's difficult, is to really analyze, what are they buying? Is there value for it? Do they see that long term? For me to create a rookie card of me on the Israeli national hockey team that is a non-fungible token, well, maybe my wife or my kids will see some value in it, but I don't think anybody else will. So I think that's part of the good and the bad, that we live in a world where there's an opportunity for people to speculate, and hopefully they do that, managing their expectations. So the FOMO is going to be there, and it moves in cycles. We see the world of fear and greed, as we move forward.
Right. Now, with all of this, and obviously also in the crypto space and everything, there is that shadow of fraud. How prevalent is fraud in this, and what do you need to know to avoid it?
Okay, that's an excellent question. I think, again, with any new technology, there are going to be bad apples or individuals who will want to take advantage of that. So there is fraud out there. I think determining the exact level of where it is difficult. There are unfortunately smart people who are bad people, and they take advantage of individuals, whether it's through the hacking of websites or hacking of their wallets and the like. I think what's important to keep in mind is, again, throughout our world, and when we talk about fraud, or again, the work, crypto and the gangsters and all involved in it, we see that happen with cash.
It's true.
It's unfortunate, but that is the world that we live in. And I think we'll continue to find that ability. I think it's important that everybody does their homework, their due diligence, much in the same way before they get onto a website. Is it a real website? Are they buying real clothing? Are they buying real paraphernalia? That it's important that people do their homework. Unfortunately, there is fraud. There's some tremendous companies out there that are creating lots of safeguards around it. I don't want to mention any names. It's not to advertise, but they're great companies who work with people and allowing. And the whole idea, let's take again another step back, of digital assets and the blockchain is again that over there it is an electronic ledger, so it can be read and people can follow it. Now that doesn't mean there aren't opportunities for in the cash world it's called layering, in the crypto world it's called tumbling, where they mix good and bad coins and find ways to exit. But I really believe that again we're in the very early stages of a new technology. That what's going to happen is you'll continue to see safeguards, you'll continue to see it grow, and unfortunately as well, you will continue to see some bad apples. But I don't think the percentage is going to be any greater than in our traditional world that we exist in, where unfortunately plane loads of cash sometimes are moved around the world for drug smugglers, money laundering, etc.
Sure. I was going to ask, the next question is what's next, but it seems like we're in the very early stages of this metaverse. So, in your vision, where do you think it's going to wind up? Are we all going to be living in a metaverse more and more time in our lives?
Right. So again, I think you're absolutely right. As I stated earlier, it is the very, very early stages of it. Do I think that you and I will spend an extended period of time of our day in the metaverse? Probably not. I think that we will see it again as giving us optionality as to other things. I look at the world that I live in, and as I mentioned before, where it used to be conference calls, then it became Zoom or Google Meets. I do see whether it's board meetings or the opportunity for you and I perhaps to, if we decided to visit Niagara, or you're coming to visit me in Canada, and let's go look at Niagara Falls. There could be an opportunity for us to virtually see it. Hey, there's a store we want to see. There's an ice cream, location that we want to visit truly and see that. I think it's going to create optionality for us. And I think that's a wonderful thing. So do I believe you and I will spend some time in the metaverse over the next 3 to 5 years? Absolutely. Is it going to dominate our lives? For you and me, probably not, but maybe for our children or grandchildren.
Yeah, I always think of the holodeck from Star Trek,
Right.
Where you could create whatever world and I could have a conversation with Shakespeare or Lincoln or whatever. I always wonder what Walt Disney would have made of the metaverse.
Absolutely. Again, I was just on the phone yesterday with a company again, and they do tours in museums around the world. So just imagine again, sometimes you and I may want to visit, again, I'm familiar with Yad Vashem, which is a Holocaust Memorial Museum in Israel.
Right.
Perhaps, again, it's not convenient to fly 10 and a half or 11 hours to actually visit it. Could that optionality be to go visit virtually and see parts of it? Is there the opportunity to see the Great Wall of China and virtually experience it, into a certain extent? I see that is where the world's going. So I think there's that opportunity. I think you'll see things, for example, again, to go into the Web 2.0, into the metaverse, and you can buy skins. Skins are, again, the virtual clothing.
Sure.
But I could try that on my avatar and, hey, wait a minute, I like this t-shirt. Could I connect to that store's Web 2.0 store and actually have it shipped? So I do just really see it as an extension. I can see things in education, in healthcare. We are seeing now, again, in Canada, at least finally, the evolution of instead of just seeing my doctor, I could have a virtual Zoom call or Google Meet call with him or her.
Right.
Could that opportunity exist to do that in the metaverse if you can, point to certain things? Absolutely. So I do see a whole new world opening up, and I'll say it again, it's optionality for people. And again, giving us hopefully over more time so that we don't have to run to the doctor and it's an hour and a half back and forth, that you could see him or her and okay, it's great, it's nothing, and you move on. Or again, education. Again, I'll use my child as an example, who again needed some assistance, from a tutor. The problem was doing the Zoom tutor, it's two-dimensional. He's still bouncing around in the room, but in a virtual world, you could stand there, you could immerse yourself with that tutor. There can be help. So I see lots of opportunity, and I'll share with you one more thought that has just come to mind. Again, think about again, working with whether it's firefighters or police people, that there's the opportunity to train them in the virtual world. There are right now actually suits out there that you can experience heat and coldness and the like. So you could train these individuals, again, creating, again, the opportunity to do this just more efficiently, in so many different ways. So I do think there's a whole brave new world out there for us that the metaverse will provide. And it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride to begin with, because we are in the early stages. But I'm fully in agreement with Citigroup when I see a $13 trillion industry where right now we're roughly 200 million, maybe 2 billion. I can't remember which the zero is, but so small, relatively speaking, to where it's going.
That this has all been so fascinating, Oded. Thank you so much for sharing your opinions and thoughts on this. I'm going to do a little plug. Oded is going to be on our panel on the 20th of September in Toronto, where I'm sure we'll be touching on some of these issues as well. Again, thank you so much, Oded, and thank you all for coming to this edition of the Bellringer. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.